Denver, Colorado. 34 years, 159 days ago. I, Aaron Thomas Christensen, was born into this world. I was raised by a split family. My parents divorced when I was young, and I was raised in Arizona, and that's pretty much where I remember a lot of my childhood memories. Most of my time is spent there. I attended school there as an early child. In the summer times and winter break, I would go and meet my father, go spend time with my father. And he had remarried, and so I have a stepbrother as well. And so from early on, I've remembered my life with my stepbrother. And you know, as my childhood goes on, you know, there's lots of memories that I remember, but really today what I wanted to talk to you all about was you know, 3 special areas of my life and how they've become special to me. And I found that through my evaluation process that these areas I have a particular fear of some sorts in each of these areas. And I've worked very hard at overcoming and facing these fears by taking some risks. And so the very first area that I would like to talk to you about is my actual first experience with the real fear of heights. And how this all came about and how I learned about this was a friend of mine in college took me climbing. And it wasn't the first time that I went climbing, because you know, the first time I did it was like a 40-foot wall. It was small. It was the second time I went climbing. And that same friend took me on what's called a multi-pitch climb. Not sure if any of you are familiar with climbing at all. But a multi-pitch, basically a pitch, is a length of rope, anywhere from, say, 50 feet to 150 feet, okay? So I was doing a multi-pitch, 2-pitch climb. Now picture it. It's this sheer wall, right? It's a face. It's 300 feet tall. And we climb to the top of this. And we anchor in, okay? And I climb up to my buddy. And, you know, I anchor in, and we're on this sheer wall. And I'll never forget getting anchored into this thing. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't speak. And he looked at me and he smacked me on the back. And he was laughing. He goes, "So what do you think of this climb?" And he said, at that moment, he realized that I answered his question. No words. So, you know, all the color left my face. I was pitch white, pale white. And anyways, I endured. I made it through the climb. He continued climbing up. We finished the climb. I got down. And it was at that point that I realized, wow, that was quite an experience. I had no idea that I had a fear of heights. But ever since then, I've been climbing now for 15 years. And I continue to face that challenge. And I found that as I face it, I keep pushing my limits higher and higher. So now when I really want to get scared, I go down to Zion. I don't know if you've been to Zion. I've done some big walls down in Zion. I go get really scared. So the second area of my life that I'd like to talk to you about is my relationships. And I found that about 10 years ago that I have a fear of commitment. Can anybody relate? Yeah, from some of the last maybe. So with this fear of commitment, I met a woman about 5 years ago, 6 years ago now, in Teton Valley. She's from Teton Valley, and she's now my wife. But at the time, I had met her, and I realized that it wasn't about the commitment level. It was about how we could work together. And if we could work together and resolve problems, then that whole commitment fear thing will go away. It's that we're working together as a team. And so for me, I proposed to her 2 years ago, and we were happily married about 6 months later, and we've been happily married ever since. The other area where recently I've realized that I have some commitment issues, or some fear of commitment, is in becoming a father. And my wife's been wanting to be a parent, or a mom, for quite some time now. And I've realized up until recently that I've been scared to be a father because of this whole commitment level. But just this past weekend, we turned in paperwork. We've been working on starting our own family for about a year now. And this past weekend, we turned in paperwork for an adoption. So we are right in the middle of the process of adoption, which is very exciting for me, and definitely facing my fear of commitment head on. So the final area of me having a particular fear is in the area of what I'm doing right now. Public speaking. So, in my career, my job, I work for a company called Teton Data Systems, and I get up and I actually speak in front of large groups. Primarily up until this point, it's been in international countries. I was in charge of their international sales for about 3 years. So I was speaking in front of large groups of people in the Middle East and Asia and Australia. So one of the reasons that I am here today is so that I can continue to face that fear head on. And it's basically getting up here and doing it is how I realize that overcoming my fears is how I like to take them head on. And so with all of this, basically what I've learned is that through facing all my fears, I've become the person that I've become today. And I continue to seek growth and learning and knowledge through this process. And I encourage each one of you who have fears to, take them head on in your own small little ways and challenge yourselves.